What's up guys, GenesisNexus here, and in today's video I'm kind of just going to be talking about all the crazy stuff that's been happening with Season 1 of Chaos Zero Nightmare, as well as my thoughts on Yuki as the kind of latest rate-up character, and some suggestions to make her better, and also some overall things to maybe help out the community, because some of our community members have been doing some great stuff, so I just want to kind of highlight it here. But without further ado, let's get into it. I hope you guys are enjoying the game so far, and if you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. It'll be very much appreciated. And let's get into this video. So, to kind of start off, I'm gonna be start talking about save data. And the reason why I'm starting talking about save data is because Yuki, who's probably the main point of this video, is actually heavily dependent on it. Like other characters, I feel like are viable even as you start, but I feel like Yuki is kind of lackluster with her build, especially if you're going into Chaos. You probably felt it like I have, and a lot of other community members have as well. But gonna give you some help here and some tools to assist with your runs to hopefully help you guys make some better decks, and then some suggestions for Yuki herself afterward to be looked at or to be improved. And if you guys ever need any more information on the save data system, there's always this system here. They even put all this information. Now, this information is a lot to take in, but there's actually, funny enough, a couple of creators who've created stuff for it, but also there's an image that I want to show you guys, which will kind of explain it better than anything. So I'm just going to bring that up really quick. And as you can see on my screen, Cosmic Plays Gotcha. I found this on the subreddit. It's probably a million times easier to explain. I had notes for it, but I was just like, let me throw it away to make it easier for you guys. Everyone knows there's a cap on your save data depending on what tier you're doing. And funny enough, they even show for the seasonal chaos where it's similar to in the cap. But yeah, neutral cards 20 points, neutral cards with epiphanies, which are these yellow dots, 30 points, and then there's forbidden cards being 20, monster cards being 80, and then like they say, monster cards aren't worth it unless you're trying to do some meme monster card build. Now the reason why they say always remove one card and always copy one card is because on first, they even funny enough, they show it here. On first copy and first removal, it costs 0 points to your deck. So it's always a good thing for you. I don't know why they're getting rid of Rapid Fire. I like Rapid Fire for Veronica, but I'll digress. But I'll add a link to this in the description, but I'll also leave it on screen so you guys can kind of see. That's just explaining this stuff in regards to save data, just so you guys can have a better understanding. And luckily in the game now, they show us with the save data how many like faint memories we have or points we have. And I'll actually show you guys a build of that right now. Because if I go over to my Yuki, funny enough, and go to her save data, my most recent save data for her has 80 points in comparison to, I think, oh no, it was in comparison to my Mika, who has like 110 points. But you see this 80 points, and the reason why I'm trying to even show you guys this, because I'm going to show you, because you may not be wondering, hey, how are we going to calculate those in the middle of a run? Now, if you want to be, I don't think you would be called Giga Sweaty if you did this, but I'm going to quickly bring up two tools by people. There's this first save data calculator that, funny enough, is in English and in Spanish. Actually, I'm going to click that. Yeah, in Spanish. This was created by Yuri 4112. I'll link to them in the description box down below so you guys can go look at it. And you could choose whatever character you want. Here you can choose whatever tier you're on. You can actually see what the cap is. They'll actually even have like a counter on the top. Then you could choose whatever character you need to choose their decks. And they even have even more of the information here explained out for you guys. similar to kind of this image. And then the second kind of calculator is made by Toja. Now, this was also found on the subreddit, but funny enough, you can go. They even have, hey, if you're at max for the seasonal chaos, you can simply choose characters. Like, for example, where is my Calliope, my Haru, and my Mika? I'm blind. And then you could start kind of counting out the cards. And for anyone who needs assistance with that, epiphanies are this yellow dot here. Divine epiphanies are anything with this kind of like bigger indicator here. It can be this color, it can be something else. I'll actually even show it to you guys right now in my decks, just so you know. Funny enough, I'm on... No, I don't think Haru has it, but my Mika should have it. Yeah. Actually, funny enough, I gotta change decks. There's so many decks I have that... Okay, perfect. So this deck, as you can see, here's a unique card with the little yellow dot. So that's an epiphany here, and then here's a divine epiphany. As you can see, there's this one that's different. And funny enough, do I have another one in my Haru decks? Man, my Haru does not get blessed by any other gods. Oh, yes. Funny enough, I could have went to Haru. Haru has 2 different types of divine epiphanies in her deck, but it's not that it matters. It's just so you guys can identify what a divine epiphany looks like, as well as a unique card being anything with a kind of like blue or orange or even yellow, or yellow and then purple text on the card. Oh, clicked on the wrong thing, but that's something I'm gonna talk about next. But this is just some tools you can use. You can even mention like, hey, yeah, you've removed cards. What did you remove? Did you remove a basic card? Did you remove another card? And everything other. Like I said, these calculators are really helpful. So I'll put these in the comment section down below, or the description box down below, so you guys can just go take a look at them and then use them for your decks. So if you're right before, you know how we all get right before you finish a chaos run, there's the Deling shop always there. So I would go there, double check, hey, let me put in all my cards really quick, see what points am I over the cap. If so, let me choose which card would be maybe best to remove, or which card would be best to like dupe if you have extra too, or purchase to beef up your deck so you can get the maximum value out of it. But that is it for save data. I didn't want to take too much time, but I did want to show you guys that on save data. And now it's kind of time to get into my thoughts about Yuki. Now, Yuki, for better or for worse, I like the character, I like the design, I like some of her skills, but she's definitely lackluster. And I personally I lost her 50-50, and I had to go to pity for her, or guarantee for her, because I lost her 50-50 to Luke. And I hope everyone else had better luck. But funny enough, now that I'm talking about Luke, I honestly think, I know people meme on Luke here, but I honestly think that he's a lot more easier to work with than Yuki is. Because if you could see their percentages, like, I think my Yuki's stronger than him, has a little bit more crit chance than him, but she feels a lot worse at base, and just at like the start of a run, she feels a lot worse. And that was before and after I lost 50-50, so I got 1 dupe of him. And I think his 1 dupe doesn't even help much. Yeah, it just adds like 50% to this mythic card. So it removes that from 5 to 4. So it isn't too bad of a dupe. I think when you get to like the second dupe, that's when he gets like really good. But between 2 order units, or even not just the 2 order units, her and the original rate up character Haru, it feels really weird that she just isn't she's not complete, and she needs some buffs. Now, I personally, it took me a while to finish the chaos, but I'll show it here on screen now that I was able to complete a run with Yuki, but it required a lot. But let's show this video right now. All right, hey guys, GenesisNexus here, and I've had to redo this part like 4 times because of all the changes that have been happening for season 1, for Chaos Zero Nightmare and Yuki. So I know that the devs, this is gonna be part of a bigger video, but the devs talked about, hey, yeah, they're gonna take a look at Yuki. Even on the Discord, hey, the moderators, they were like, hey, yeah, the dev team got the feedback for Yuki. But I wanted to show something because, as you can see, I was at 33 out of 34 for the seasonal chaos, and I'm almost done with the boss. I'll probably finish it in like 1 or 2 hits. But I wanted to show kind of like how much was necessary for me to even get to this point. Now, I'm not saying Yuki needs like crazy changes, but I do think she needs some slight buffs to bring her in line with someone like Haru. Because funny enough, I'll show it on screen now. It was a meme that I found on the subreddit, and I understand people don't like Reddit, but this was kind of a funny meme to me. It's just that for the amount of effort that Haru had to do to get out damage, Yuki has to do like 3 times the effort, but with less damage. And I'll talk about it probably more in the bigger video that this will be a part of, but I did just want to show this, hold up, and then kind of show how I had to have heavy stacks of everything, and then just to go over my team builds real quick. I have like 36 cards in this deck. I think this is one of my biggest decks, period. With like Source of Water having Epiphany, then you have Blessing having Epiphany, another Epiphany over here. There's tons of Epiphanies all across the board. And I didn't even get like Giant Ballista here for Veronica that I wanted. But like even she has some Epiphanies. But then we really come down to the meat and potatoes of it. It's Yuki. And as you can see, I don't have any dupes of Yuki, but I had to get this specific Epiphany, this Divine Epiphany, which has really helped. And then I luckily got it duplicated. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to save this deck, but I'm going to be sad. I want to at least record this video so I have an idea. And then I got lucky with like 3 back-to-backs of the choose 10 cards and then event, and then you get to choose one, and then aggressive mutant was there twice. So I got that, and then I just recently pulled this from the Ling shop because I was just like, I want more AP because she needs it so she can do her draws. And I think the main problem that I have necessarily with Yuki is her E2, her Manifest Ego, which allows for when you draw a hand at the start of battle, if you have all of Yuki's cards in your hand, you're kind of screwed. But if you have her E2 or her second constellation, it allows you to have inspiration on those cards. I believe that should not be inside her Ego kit. And if I have the picture, I'll put it up on screen now. It should not be in her Ego kit at all. It should just be a core part of her kit, so everybody can have that and not need to have two copies of her, just 2 extra copies just to make her viable, or a lot less stressful. Because as you saw, I had like tons of cards with tons of Epiphanies on them all across the board, and then even some of these forbidden cards or these new ones. Like, you shouldn't need to rely on that to get her up and running. Now, I'm just gonna quickly do some stuff. I would have used this card, but the dang boss stole my ballista, so I can't even if I wanted to. So I'm gonna hope that this draw, okay, this draw does something. Okay, that drew a ballista, so I'm just gonna stack up on the ballista. I'll take that damage because it's fine. I'll heal it up. Oh, I think I overused that, but it's fine. Yeah, so now I'm done. And if I'm gonna copy a card, ooh, do I have repost? I will probably copy this. Now, as much as people like aggressive mutant, I prefer this because I draw 2 other combatant cards and I get 1 AP. So then this way, Veronica could be used with anybody's team. But let us continue with that bigger video. And yeah, so as you guys can see, I was able to complete the Chaos run with Yuki, but it did take me some time to get it down, and I had to get a lot of epiphanies just to even get her running. And it wasn't just the epiphanies, it was even memory fragments. As you can see, I am rocking the 222 sets because I know they changed some of the sets, and I'll talk about that next, but this, like, I had to get really lucky with all of these and then even match the sets up to just make her viable. So from there, she struggles. You need these good sets. Then you also need the potentials. As you can see, I've gotten her to 4 here because I'm really trying to make her work because I like this character and I want this character to be at least comparable to other characters. Because right now, if I'm just comparing her to Haru, as you can see, Haru doesn't even have, like, her basic cards are at 5, and I probably should have done her uniques. But if it's flipped with Yuki, and Yuki has the 4 here plus that, and Haru doesn't even have that. But Haru just, it feels infinitely faster. And I think I mentioned it in that completion of the Chaos video, but I'll show it on screen right now. There was a funny meme that I saw on the subreddit that really kind of hammered it home for me, and it was this. The fact that, and I may be repeating myself, but here's like Haru's entire like thing, and boom, she does this damage, and then you have, even if you're not using Cassius, like you have like so many hoops and jumps to get through just for Yuki to do this. And I personally don't find that to be a good thing for the game going forward, especially for a rate up character. So that's why I'm kind of glad like the community has been speaking up about it and that they've been trying to get buffs. Now, I think the reasonable thing is she needs slight buffs across the board, just so that when she goes into Chaos, she isn't struggling off rip and doesn't need a ton of epiphanies just to even get her running. And I understand that her signal target isn't really her focus because she's built to be this AoE, but it's kind of awkward that she can't even come close, even with the AoE, to just, you would think that, hey, yeah, when mobs, there's a lot of mobs on the screen, her damage would be comparable. But then you have someone like Haru who has, what, 1 AoE card in her entire deck, and this card can hit harder than Yuki. So it feels weird. And now that I'm even on this page, I honestly think this ego skill needs to be changed. Now, I think it was, if I'm correct, is it Haru? Yeah, Haru has like, hey, a 50% for each buff. Like, look at how minimalist it is. Hey, 350% damage, 50% for each buff you own. But it costs a 6 cost. Now, you come down to Yuki, she costs a 5 cost, 300% damage. And then this part right here is what I dislike. At first, when I read it, I was like, in my previous video, I didn't have too much problems. But then once you start playing with her for a couple of days, you're like, now I have the problem. Because of how inspiration works, moving all of her cards. So essentially, you can't do with what everyone else. Like, for example, I'm going to use Haru, for example. Haru, and I'm going to use Renoa. What you do is, hey, yeah, I can stack up for anchor pointer, I can do lift anchor, and I can use anchor shot like 2 times if I have 2 anchor pointers or an anchor pointer with a retrieve, and you can beef up everything and get max like stuff, and you can even throw out cards with morale and stuff, and then Haru gets more damage based on her how many buffs she has. But you can't do the same with Yuki. Yuki is, hey, yeah, you have to leave all of her cards in her hand, and then so you have to first draw to get all those cards in your hand, and then you have to leave them till you have enough energy points to use her ego skill, and then it moves all to the top of the deck. But that sucks because, for example, as you saw in the video, I was running a Yuki Veronica with Mika build. There's very little draws in that build. Some I made it work, and I even got like good version of Prepared to Subdue. But at base, it's just like you're waiting. Her kit essentially waits for someone else to use it. Putting these on top of the deck is fine, but I feel like what it should have been is, hey, yeah, if you have, depending on how many of her attack cards you have, then you should do the 50%. This way you can kind of combo this with, and then afterwards use her cards right after, because you'll still have the AP available to you. But, and then I also think for this card, this ego skill, maybe have it, hey, yeah, activate inspiration for every card in her hand. So then that would give you more of a reason to run the draw characters or just draw cards to get all of her cards in her hand and add inspiration to them. Because right now, it doesn't even utilize her own mechanic of inspiration. Now, if I go up to Haru, she uses her buffs, which tons of her cards can give her buffs. And then especially if you get epiphanies on them, even the smallest epiphanies will help. But then to kind of go into a character like Renoa. Renoa is a 4-cost. She's a single target. Her thing is, hey, move all dirge bullets from the draw pile and graveyard to your hand. She does 300% damage. Same damage as Yuki. And a lot of bosses, remind you, are single target. And then you kind of have dirge bullet in your hand. So let's say if you had like, I'm just going to say 5 dirge bullets. And the reason why I'm saying 5 dirge bullets is because I think Yuki's card, that's what, 1 card, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like you would need 5 of her cards to really kind of like max out her damage. So let's say you had 5 dirge bullets, which is easy. You can get 1 from here, 2 from here, and then if you get this card again because it's normal, you can maybe, I'll even give her 4. So 4 dirge bullets. Now she does that 300% damage, and then let's say you end your turn immediately after, you don't even use them. Guess what? They just go right into a discard pile and they each do 110 damage by themselves to the boss. By themselves. Yuki does nothing with her cards. They just, hey, yeah, you get 50% for each card move. While this ego skill literally hits for 110. And let's say you only had 1 or 2 dirge bullets. You're still hitting for what? That's 200%, 220% extra damage. But Yuki doesn't have that same thing. Even heck, look at my Calliope, one of the best banger characters in my on my account. She does 300% damage, just like Yuki does, just like Renoa does. But then she has Vulture Ejection comes into play, and that has her specific like Silver Veil, and it gives a shield, and it can combo with other things. So it's just like it combos with her, what's in her kit. Nothing about Yuki's thing helps with inspiration. Nothing, but her entire kit is based around inspiration. So I think you need to add at bare minimum. Please let me know if you guys agree with me. Add something into this ego skill that, hey, yeah, either activate inspiration for every card in her hand of hers, or make you choose 2 or 3 cards that get inspiration. And if you don't have 2 or 3 cards, let's say you only have 1 card in your hand, then just activate inspiration for that 1 card. So that actually can be worth the 5 ego points. And sorry that I kind of harped on too long about that. Also, sorry, my thought just happened. Give her morale or something, man. At the same time, if you're going to activate inspiration, give her like 2 morale or something. Sorry, I just have so many thoughts on her because I like her as a character and I really want her to be at least comparable to Haru, because that's the other rate up character we have right now. Even comparing her to Luke, who people think is bad, my guy Luke does a lot more. Like, hey, yeah, depending on how many cards you have in hand, and you can have a lot based on, oh, this card can make handgun bullets for each time you crit, and it attacks twice, and if you have dupes of that, this one creates 2 handgun bullets. You can really kind of like stack up, and that's just for him, and I still think even he's more viable, and he costs 5. Now he has a lower percentage at 15% per card in hand, But if you have a full, what, I think it's 10 cards in your hand, if you have that, he's banger. Now, I do wish they kind of did something for Luke, but that's another video for another time. But that is her ego skill. And other than her ego skill, we come into, I'm gonna skip her cards and go to her manifest. I do not think this should be a part of her manifest, her egos. Now I understand we have the Omega code that's coming in the mid phase of the season, or second phase, but I do not think that this should be a part of her. This should be a part of her base thing, her base kit. Hey, yeah, if you draw all your cards, because I know a ton of other players will probably say, hey, yeah, I've drawn all of Yuki's cards in my first draw and no one else's, but she can't get inspiration, so it's practically a dead hand, as they would call it in like even poker or some other game, or even any other TCG, when you have all the cards in your hand but nothing to properly utilize them because they all have a specific thing to them. And the reason why I'm saying this should not be here, they need to change this to maybe make it a damage boost or something. Like even this one I don't particularly like, but the second one's just really egregious. The reason why I'm saying that is you come here, even her 1 cost, her starting cards, the basic cards here, 2 of the 3 basic cards need inspiration. This one doesn't. Then you have, for her epiphany cards, you have inspiration needed here and inspiration needed here. So that's 4 out of her 8. And you could toss the shield card because everyone practically deletes that card. So you're just kind of like, if you imagine you get 4 of those cards plus maybe Freezing Blade. So now you just kind of, this card needs you to use a card with inspiration. So you're kind of just hoed on turn 1. So I think they should remove that from her ego and make it just based to her. Heck, maybe even not this one. Maybe put it here, add it here, or add it here, so you can have people invest in her potential and make it more player friendly. But that's it. Other than that, I think she at least needs like a 20 to 30% damage buff across the board with her cards. So 20-30%, bring this closer to like 140, 150. Bring this closer to like 280. Actually, let me see. Renoa has like closer to like 200 cards, but she's a single target unit. But yeah, bring it up to 20-30%. Maybe make this, instead of increased damage amount, you make it cost 1 point less, kind of like this one, or make it do 2 hits this one. What about this? Yeah, this decreases the cost. You have 2 exact same inspirations, and then this one actually adds 1 hit, but then it decreases damage. But I do feel like this card is an epiphany card. Why is this card under 200%? It should at bare minimum be like closer to 230, 240. And if I'm gonna go to like my Calliope, what does she have that's equivalent? Heck, even her shields give more. Even her basic like Aquila sword is like 165, but can be boosted to 200% if Vulture Jackson is in your hand, which it practically is. And heck, I think it's what? Yeah, her second ego at least puts Vulture Jackson immediately in your hand, and then that would partner with that. But like I said, 20-30%. I don't think that's a crazy amount to buff all these cards across the board, but it should be looked at. And other than that, I'm kind of gonna like step off from Yuki. That's my thought. It took me a while to even get a decent save data for her. I'm gonna keep working on it. This one I got lucky and I got the double aggressive mutants. But yeah, Yuki, I hope they can do a lot more with. I hope they take the community's feedback. They did, actually. Now that I'm thinking about it, I can move on to the other part, because they did on their website, their stove forum for Chaos Zero Nightmare. They're talking about, they've already started addressing some of this, because they mentioned how, hey, yeah, we're gonna start addressing some of the stuff where season content feels too weak, it lacks versatility, and there wasn't enough epiphany chances because of Dimensional Tunnel. And they've already started to announce this stuff. They've even added more seasonal difficulty recently, and also they've made it so that zero system change effects work in the seasonal chaos. Now, the reason why I'm saying they're already talking about Yuki is because luckily on the disc, someone copied it from the Discord, but one of their moderators says can't share specifics, but the feedback regarding her performance is known by the devs and they're looking into it. So that is already a good first thing. Just like I said in my other videos for Chaos Zero Nightmare, it's great that these devs are listening to the community, no matter where it is really, and they're like, oh yeah, we should work on this. But funny enough, earlier today there was a patch that really did change a lot of stuff. Like I said, they added more difficulty to the seasonal chaos because people said, hey, yeah, it's not that difficult. So they were like, you want difficult? We'll give you difficult. I don't know how people are going to do this. But then they added, hey, yeah, you can get chaos orbs. And there's all kinds of changes. I'm not going to go through every one of these. I'll put it linked to this in the description box so you guys can go check it out for yourself. There's tons of changes they've made. And funny enough, I think one of the changes actually helped me get my double mutant card for Yuki, but I won't harp onto it. The main thing, I think, I like this, that they did more changes to the fragment sets. As you can see, they've tried to buff some of the 4-cost sets, because as you see, Yuki, for my Yuki and tons of other players, for other characters on the account, 222 is honestly better for the fragments. Sorry, I'm just gonna bring this down because attack is baseline. There's no specifications for it. There's no conditional to it. Crit damage, there's nothing crit for that. Sorry, I'm just gonna go, yeah, brother, please. But yeah, crit damage, there's nothing specific to it. Heck, where's the defense one? Yeah, defense, nothing conditional to it. Now they've tried to upgrade, where is it, the passion one, so it went from 15% to 20%. I think they even changed the order one, but let me actually bring that back on screen so we can see it together. Yeah, they've changed the void one to, and some of these sets, the thing with these sets are they're more specific for specific characters. Like for example, I think this is for Mei Lin, if I'm correct. I don't have Mei Lin, so I hope I can get her, but this seems to be doing that. It kind of works a little bit for my Veronica. It's not the best for her, but it helps if you get a lot of her epiphanies and stuff. You have Kairon's and by extension a little bit for Noah. She doesn't like to exhaust her dirge bullets, but you can if you're really forced to end a match. And then there's even the instinct one, which I don't know why, but I know that's maybe for Calliope, but I would never use this for her. And then here's the one for the order set, which is Yuki's set. Is hey, or Yuki / Luke. They brought it from like 5% to 10% for 1 damage, but still, at the end of the day, I feel like these still need to be worked on, and the other sets, because in comparison, it's just like some of these changes are like nice. Like Mei Lin is already a great character, so this just helps. Kairon and Renault are already good character, and even I don't know if Rin exhausts cards because I don't have her, but she's already good. Calliope's already good, so I don't even need this for her. And then Luke doesn't even use this, so it's kind of a mute point there. Okay, now yeah, they've forbidden cards and they've added some changes, but yeah, that's just everything in regards to the update. I don't think they've added anything else since that point, so let me quickly check. But yeah, as you guys can see, they're doing some changes. Definitely like it. Definitely think they need to do more. But once again, just to kind of end it off, I'm so glad that the devs are listening to all the feedback and making changes consistently and quickly, because they really need to keep this up. Because if they do keep it up, I think CZN will get to a great point where they'll be focusing more on new content and quality of life going forward without needing to fix things as frequently. So like hopefully they can kind of find a good baseline point. And I honestly think kind of the Haru baseline point is really where they should stay. Like, hey, yeah, Haru's a good character. She's kind of boring, but a good character and kind of balanced. She's not too strong where she beats like other characters, but she's not too weak where you kind of feel like we're kind of having the situation with Yuki. So if they can find that good baseline, then it will only be great things going forward in the future. I will say that I feel like they still need to kind of address the situation with stamina slash aether, because I still think that the amount it takes to do missions is too much. They should either reduce that amount to like 40, like I said in my other video. So I'll actually put it up on screen what video I'm talking about, my feedback and suggestions for Chaos Hero Nightmare. Or they should make Aether recharge faster and have an overfill mechanic. I think regardless they should have an overfill mechanic, because right now we do not have an overfill mechanic. It's kind of just, hey, yeah, we have more charge of this, but after figuring out that the coffees are practically useless because they recharge 60 and they only have a limit of 4, if you go to the coffee shop, I already did my coffee shop for today. You can actually just take the coffee as is and it would give you 80 Aether rather than 60. So I would never stock it up anymore. Unless I get this in an event, I won't be stocking up my Aether. I'll just rather get the 80 rather than 60. Then we get these Tier of God that give us 60. That's fine. And then you have currency. But I feel like kind of like Withering Waves, I'll put it up on screen if I have the image. You should have like an overfill, 4th option, overfill mechanic. So I just want to kind of keep harping on that point, because to build characters, you kind of need a lot of Aether, and a lot of people are still running into that issue. I appreciate the change they did with the activity log and like backdating and giving players the rewards, but I still feel like it needs to be worked on. But if you guys have any thoughts on anything that I presented here in this video, please put them down in the comment section down below, and share this video with others to get as much feedback and suggestions for the devs to look at as possible. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you've enjoyed this video. I hope you guys did. Have a great rest of your day and weekend wherever you are in the world, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Later.